Then we've got the base, and this is the new color in the neutrals. It's the Merlot, Mary Merlot. And then the outside is my layer piece. I have already cut out these pieces, and these will become my little insides I will use for another project, but just to maximize that level. And then these are my card bases. Now this is the new Buffalo Check background stamp. I am in love with this one, and I want to show you a little trick. Janet Wakeland had this idea just how to do like a stamp station. So we are going to make these little gems, which are part of my card. So this is the base, and this is the layer. And I just want to show you right quick how wonderful it is on this card. So I'm going to stamp up. I tried using Memento, which was great. I had to stamp it a lot to get some coverage. This is just the basic black one, and I inked this up so it's all nice and juicy. And it's basically getting as much coverage on this as possible. And you know what? I just made sure it was juicy, but that was last night. So now I'm trying to double stamp. But this is, it's a bigger stamp pad or base, so it gets a little bit more coverage than the Memento as far as putting it on there. And then put your, oops, I got one cover. This was nice. You can see where you miss, you know, when you have the right lighting, and just make sure that's on there. Got it. Okay. Now you're going to place this right on the edge there. Cover with your grid paper. And I just used an old one because I wanted to not use up a brand new piece, and it's just icky ones, but I use up my grid paper until it is done. All right, then this comes up. Come on, don't get all the ink on me. And look at that, wonderful. Now you see I missed here, but this is the edge I've left because I can cut my edge. So I try to leave the size a little different, and then I'll take over to my my sink and I will rinse that off. But this is the nice checkered, so whether it be a white on black, whether it be the tone on tone, but this is what makes up my checkered. All right, so we've got our little, this is our set. This is the Alpine Adventures, and this is the little snowshoe. And I have a bunch of snowshoes for my project, but I want to show you in doing the soft suede. So this is crumb cake, and I used soft suede. I didn't want to have the same color. I wanted to stand out, but I want a little bit of a darker edge on the cut. And I know there's a die for it. I just did it by hand. It was faster trying to put this into a production level. So that is our snowshoes. Now we've got our little mistletoe. This is a new punch in the holiday catalog, and I've gotten all my mistletoe all punched out. This is actually the old olive, and this will go on the card under the snowshoe. All right, so now we're going to do, we've already got our base down. Now we're going to put the greeting, and that is this greeting right in here. So the best way, since we're doing mass production, is using the Stamparatus. It's a positioning tool. Let me just show you how wonderful this is. These are very, very strong mats. So I'm going to put my card base right in there. And you can see I am going to stamp. Now here's what happens to us is that we make one stamp, and as it's upside down I know, but you can see where it's not very dark. I am able to just re-stamp that, put that down, and it's not quite where I want, but it is going to keep putting down in the exact spot. And now I am very happy with that, and you can see how crisp and clear that is. And I can just keep on going, because as long as my stamp is in the right place on this end, I am So this, to me, is pretty thrifty because I can make sure that my cards look great. It is going to get me, just, you know, you're doing the same style, do something, and this is what sometimes happens, is that you can see how just one stamp puts that not very crisp, but we can put it back in, make our stamp, and it actually just deepens that. So you can tell though, see what happened is I took it off the mat, and see how it kind of doubled it. So I'm going to switch this over, which is so nice because now I get another chant. It's like a mulligan. I get a mulligan. And I'll just redo the bottom, but I thought it would be very important to show you how wonderful a positioning tool. Now there's, Tim Holtz has some that are the positioning tool. The Misty is out there. This is the version of Stampin' Up, which is nice because these actually come off and they go back in. They can come out and come down to make, if I wanted to do two of them. And then there is, so you have this one, okay, and then there's actually, let me get this piece, there's actually another piece that goes into this one. So it gives you one stamp positioning here, one here. I could flip this and have one over here as well. That's 4 different stamps. There's a lot of stamps out there that have like, they are, you know, 2 or 3 different layers that you can put, and makes it for great depth. But when it comes to getting it right on the money, how nice is it to be able just to whip this out and get these done. Okay, so now we've got our sentiment on there. I put my little Mary Merlot little flowers on. We got the bottom part on. Let me tell you a funny story. So you can see, let me show you here. This is the card, and crisp lines and everything's good. So I got all my cards done, and you can see on these, I have each 4 of the corners burnished with the soft suede because I got all of my cards done, and you know, your surface should be as clean as possible, especially with white. And I brushed against my pad, and all, I don't know, a good 8 of them had the top part that had gotten marked on. Well, I spent a lot of work on cutting these and lining it and everything, so I decided to make them all that way. And it kind of makes it look antique-y. So here's kind of the final piece, and just a little bit, not a whole lot, but I wanted to show how I'm lining up the using the grid paper, because when you're using a vertical sentiment, or in this case the plaid, the one that I handmade, it's going to look pretty straightforward as far as whether or not it is straight or not. So what I did was got my paper lined up where it's at, and just pick a spot. Doesn't have to be anything, but what's nice is that you now can line up with the top line and the bottom line, and you have your straight piece. Okay. Okay, so here's some pieces. So we are going to assemble. And part of that is we have the inside. Now, most of the time when you do a layer, normally you come in a 1/4 of an inch. So if your piece is, you've done landscape and you've cut your paper at 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4, you would normally come in at, for your inside piece, like this one, you would come in and you would go 4 by 5 1/4. And so then your layer piece becomes that. So what I do this border is not as thick, so it's not a quarter, it's an eighth. So that is my trim on the outside of that. Okay. Also, for thrifty is I use Tumball glue, which this actually is art glitter glue from May Made It. And it is bulk wise, I can get a ton of projects. So let's get started. This is a dark piece, so remember when we score, the mountain goes on the outside. So we got our piece down. We get, remember, I've already stamped this inside because I, of course, use the back side for other things. And when you stamp, if you put your top layer on and you stamp, you're going to have these impressions that will pop through. Not fun. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. So anyhow, this is basically going to be our top piece. This is pretty simple. A lot of you already know how to do the layers. And I make sure that your fingers are good because I've gotten goobers on this, and then I wind up with a problem because now I have to get the goobers or cover them. All right, so this is going to be my, move that around, get that on there, good and good. So this is my mistletoe, and we're going to get that so it's all in the middle. Now, I try to dab off a lot of the glue. This will dry clear, so let that dry just a little bit. While we're working on that drying, let's shoot to the inside. Now, because it's a dark piece, I try to put a piece in the middle or on the inside so that I can write in it, because you aren't going to be able to see it. And then I use the same design on the top and the bottom on that as the front piece. Okay, so this actually is white. I thought about using ivory, but I don't know, it just didn't have a lot of a zing to it. And I did burnish the edges. All right, so now we have our piece in, and I've taken the snowshoe and I've raised this. I thought it would be a little bit more interesting to have it raised. And covered my little glue pieces there. And that is our wonderful Christmas card. Okay, so let's do some other ones. So same set. This is one that I made. This is from also, it's A-frame. This is the DSP from the Designer Series paper from the catalog. And there's the skis. And then I just raised this with some twine behind it. So very simple. This is another one. Now the background, and remember I didn't do the 1/4 inch, I did the 1/8 inch of that border around that. Still using the items from that stamp set, just giving you some ideas of how great and versatile this stamp set is. And then I cut out some of the extra presents on there, and then have some layered on top, and then actually raised. And then I cut out the little wreath with the bow. Last one is this one. This one's kind of fun. This is just a corrugated paper. This actually is from a project that I had from last year that didn't have time for, ran out of Christmas seasons. But it's one of those cup cozies, the little sleeves. And they came as a craft project, and so I just cut that up, and so it's on the inside of this. This actually is white. It's not cream. Kind of looks that way, but I used the wreath, berries, the snowflakes, and of course Jingle All the Way. Now, I already had a bunch of these cut out, so I just reused them for this project. And because I didn't want my sentiment to bend, I have the glue, the snail behind it, but then on either end I have the dimensional so that when it laid across it would be the same level as the snowshoes. Anyhow, so that is our project for today, just showcasing the stamp set And I hope that this kind of gives you a maybe some inspiration as Christmas is upon us. You want to get your Christmas cards out early. So that is all I have for today. You have a great day. Look forward to talking to you soon. And check out my channel, other videos, and share with a friend. Have a great day.